Alright folks, it's time again for another Lucas Clones Aves product tutorial. This time around I'm going to be doing a tutorial on Aves epoxy paste, and for this tutorial I'm going to be using the Aves epoxy paste. Obviously I've already got it out here open. I haven't started to mix it yet. You're going to need some sort of a receptacle or container to mix your epoxy paste in. So I just use, for this, I use a figure. Basically, you know, it was a package for a figure. It's a good little container that you would probably just throw away anyhow. It's good for mixing things up. You've got your 2 parts of Aves epoxy paste here, so I'll be putting equal parts inside of this and mixing it around. And for measuring, because you do need to use equal parts of A and B, and this is part B here, the darker, and this is part A. And you can see inside there, you know, there's a totally different consistency between the 2 parts. You're going to probably want to grab 2 spoons that are equal in size so that you can know that you're measuring correctly how much epoxy paste, how much of part A and part B you're mixing in your epoxy paste, so you get the mixture right, because it is important that you get the mixture right. You're also going to need, for what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this butter knife here, so you might want to go raid the older utensils for this. And what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial is, if you see Captain Rex here, he's on a little base, wooden base that I bought at the craft store for very, very cheap. And then there is a figure stand that's been hot glued to the base to give the figure something to stand on. So you can see I can move Rex around and the stand goes with him. And then back here I have some styrofoam that I've hot glued. I've kind of custom cut it and I've hot glued it onto the base. And I'm going to be using this as a sort of like an armature to spread the epoxy paste over, and as the epoxy paste cures I'm going to be able to give it sort of like a texture that I'm looking for. And then once that's done, of course, I'll be able to paint it. So stay tuned for the next part of this video. Alright, back again, and just wanted to show you guys the Aves website here. I'm looking on my iPad, and this is the Aves website. If you want to order any of these materials that I've been doing reviews on for Imperial Shipyards, this is the place to go, and it's avesstudio.com, www.avesstudio.com, and you can just go on there and you can create a little account just like any other website that you know, you would register for to buy stuff, and they have everything there. So this is the place to go. So definitely go ahead and check out. Okay, now on to the actual tutorial. Alright, so here we are, and I'm about to start using the epoxy paste. I have it all mixed now. You can see my mixture right here. I got a huge batch mixed. Hopefully it's 50-50 A and B. Should be. I measured it out as good as I could with those 2 spoons. Very sticky. It's good to have a sink with some hot water and soap nearby to keep your hands clean, or some Aves safety solvent, whichever is closer. And before that, I just want to show you what you can do with epoxy paste. And so if you look at this diorama that I just recently finished up, this area right in here, all this and all of this here, and all of this texture, and even some of the texture here on the brick, which I know might be a little bit tough to see, but you can probably see it there. All that texture, this brick was made with a sheet of foam core, and all I did was emboss the brick design into it. But then, as I was applying the epoxy paste to this diorama in here, you can see how it added texture to it, because I would do this here, and then anything extra I kind of just lightly scraped it over this brick wall, and it really gave it this nice rough texture and really added to the realism of the brick. So I was very, very excited about that, and you can see a little bit of the texture I put here on this door, going down and all the way up to here, the epoxy paste. All that is epoxy paste. So you can see that the ability that it gives you to add texture to surfaces in a diorama, which is what the use that I'm applying it for this tutorial. And the neat thing about the epoxy paste is, just like Fix-It Sculpt or just the regular Fix-It, it does have a cure period. It's not as long as Fix-It Sculpt, obviously, but you can shape it, and also you can smooth it out with just water, or you can use the Aves Safety Solvent if you like to smooth it out and get some nice texture going. And you can see after it has been painted, it's got a really great texture, which does wonders for a dry brush, and just makes your dioramas or whatever. I mean, I imagine you could use it for vehicles as well, and even if you're sculpting a larger figure, you could do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this diorama here, and I'm going to just start applying the epoxy paste, and I'm going to try to do my best to show you the process. And so I'm going to take my spoon of epoxy paste, and this is just a really messy procedure. There's no way to do this. You may want to use latex gloves. I actually prefer to have my bare fingers, simply because I like to feel the surfaces that I'm working with as I'm working. And also, it's just good to get in there and work with your hands sometimes, and trying to be careful not to ruin this foam. And I just want to kind of spread it out. It's like peanut butter, basically. I mean, I can't really relate it. If you've ever made a peanut butter sandwich, it's a lot like that. And just spread it over your shape, your form, and it's going to be kind of rough. Let me move the camera up. It's going to be kind of rough at first, and you just got to really be patient with it, and just kind of pay attention as the epoxy paste is curing, to make sure you're smoothing it out and cleaning it up, and also adding whatever textures that you want to it. It does pretty much stay in place. It will, if you stand it up like that, it will droop a little bit, so it's probably good to let your surface that you're working with lay flat, and that's what I did with the diorama that I just showed you. When I was through sculpting or adding the epoxy paste to the surface, I definitely did lay it flat for about the first 45 minutes to 60 minutes, just to let the epoxy paste really kind of cure up and get nice and firm. And then once that happened, it didn't really move, it didn't droop at all, and I was able to take various tools and start to shape it. And what I'm going for, the look I'm going for here, is I kind of want a ruined urban sort of wall back here. So I'm going to obviously coat this whole styrofoam surface with the epoxy paste. I'm going to try to make it nice, and I don't want it to be totally even, because it's supposed to be a bombed out kind of building. So I want it to have some character, some texture to it, and I want to obviously create some texture also, because I want to have it, some nice texture for when I go to dry brush. It'll look really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for now, and I'm going to finish covering this area, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I'm through. Alright, so this is what it looks like completely covered, and as you can see I will rotate. I did cover the back. There are a few areas of the styrofoam exposed, which I'm actually psyched about because as you know, if you have had any experience trying to spray paint styrofoam, the solvent that's in spray paint will eat the styrofoam, and so I'm hoping that I'm actually banking on the fact that the solvent from the spray paint will go into the areas where you can see styrofoam here still a little bit exposed and eat little holes and cavities into this wall, and just make it that much more interesting and bombed out. And when this stuff cures, I'm probably going to drill a few holes into it anyhow with my Dremel. Maybe even make a bullet hole or two, just to let you see how big this thing is with a 1:18 scale figure. This is a 1:18 scale G.I. Joe. You can see that it's about head height at its highest point, and so now once the epoxy paste cures, then this will be very, very hard, very, very sturdy. You can see, I mean, it's really, really hard. Then I will be able to add a surface down here and then paint the whole thing, spray paint it probably black, prime it, and then dry brush it and add color and add detail and make it look awesome. Maybe even some grasses in there somewhere, maybe some weeds growing. Who knows? Sky's the limit. I even have a little bit of space back here if I want to drill a hole in and like build a little girder or a pole of some sort with some cables on it or something. Who knows? This is the fun part. So there you go. I hope this helped any of you out there that want to know more about Abe's products in its applications. Epoxy paste is awesome for diorama building, I must say, and I can see using it on numerous applications for dioramas, for basically to create any surface you want. I mean, once this starts to cure up and get hard, right now it's very, 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 very sticky. And by the way, this stuff water cleans up. I mean, I had these you know, these tools that I use to spread, and I just cleaned them up with warm water and a bit of soap, and they were nice and clean. So anyhow, there you go. Awesome stuff. I love it. And until next time, we'll see you again. www.abestudio.com. Check them out. Get yourself some Aves and get creative. Alrighty, from Lucas Clones. Bye bye. Alright folks, back again one last time to wrap this little video back up. It's the next day, and now my epoxy paste has hardened up. It's nice, and you can hear very, very hard. I want you to notice as much as you can in the video how the epoxy paste is semi-transparent, which is something that I forgot to mention. And also one other thing that I meant to mention in the last segment, and then that went right out of my mind, was that one of the things that you can do with this epoxy paste is you can actually mix in color with it while you are combining the two pieces, and you can actually add different colors to it, which is pretty cool. I haven't tried that yet. I've been pretty much just sculpting it and then painting over it, but that would be a neat thing to try and do. So anyhow, this is what it looks like when it is fully cured, and you can hear it's very, very hard. This foam, I mean, I'm squeezing it pretty hard here. It's not going to really buckle. The little holes here, of course, when I spray paint this, are going to get the paint's going to go in there and eat away at a little bit of the styrofoam, but it's not going to take away from the integrity of the shape of the structure. So I'll be filling this in with my ground texture and painting it, and I'll be done with this mini dio. So anyhow, I hope this video helped you. Definitely go out on to avestudio.com and check out Apoxie paste, and they have a little, if you don't want to go for the big container of it, they do have a little trial container here, which is a, you know, it's just like a little bit if you only want to use it for small purposes. So you can get both of those, and that's going to do it from Lucas Clones. Bye bye.